What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the After Effect Podcast. I'm your host, LeBron Stephen, but you can call me LBZ, L Boogie, Big Brian, B Brian, LB, Ronnie. The choice is yours. Welcome to episode 63. We have a very special guest. Jeremiah Hunter is on the show today. York, PA native, was a US Today All-American in high school and a national recruit, playing his football at Harrisburg Science and Tech High School. From there, he chose the University of Iowa to further his playing and collegiate career. Was a 3-year starter there from 2008 to 2010. Started all 12 games in the illustrious 2009 season when we went 11-2, where he was an all Big Ten player 2009 and 2010. Went undrafted in the 2011 NFL draft and got signed with the New Orleans Saints and was with them for a while. And now is doing great things in his community while raising his family. Super, uber excited to have Jeremiah on the show, to get my brother on the show to speak about his athletic journey and speak about his athletic career and speak about the after effect of his athletic career. So just send him the link, waiting for him to jump on. And once he jump on, we will go.
A guy who came from Cleveland.
Okay, well, you ain't from Cleveland, no.
Cleveland was the best location in the nation.
You know, we from Cleveland, Ohio.
Glenville community on the east side of Cleveland.
Cleveland was called the best location in the nation.
It's good, brother.
What's up with you, bro?
Do you see me?
Nah, I can't see you. I can hear you. I can't see you yet, though.
Hold on. What do I gotta do?
Just turn on the video.
How do I do that?
You should see a thing where it says
illiterate.
You should see a thing where it says stop or start video, and just tap the. There you go.
Yeah. It says start video. Start video. I got
Yeah, my dog. It's good to see you, bro.
You got the light. It's good. Chilling.
Hey, I can't call it. Hey, I appreciate you coming out of time, man. We supposed to make this happen weeks ago, man.
Yeah, I know, man. I understand it though. You got a life, I got a life, and if our schedules don't match up perfectly, living in different states, it's just how it's gonna go.
Man, you already know how life goes, especially as grown men, man. Everything's just happening so fast, man. But I appreciate you joining, man. So this is called the After Effects Show, bro. I started it almost a year ago. We'll be at the 1-year anniversary on June 16th. But I started it a year ago because I've always felt like us as athletes, we all have an after effect or aftershock from our athletic journey when it's sober and we got to transition or segue into something else. A lot of our stories aren't ever told. A lot of our backstories aren't ever told, unless you make it to the league or you play 10 years in the league and you have your own podcast or producers or you have those resources. So this is a free and safe space for us to kind of tell our stories organically, purely, authentically, and kind of delve back the times and talk about some good times, bad times in our career, and really just try to push the culture forward, man. So I appreciate you joining.
Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I respect the fact what you're doing. Like, I had no idea that this was even happening until you hit me up, and I went on some of your links on social media. I'm like, oh, yeah, he was really doing the podcast thing for real. Last time I seen you, you was out in Cali, I think. The last time we spoke, he was in Cali doing some stuff out there, getting I'm like, hold up, that is the LeBron I know. LeBron I know was 280. Now this nigga got abs now. I'm like, oh snap, I need to catch up. We done flip-flop.
Hey man, I had to. It's funny you bring that up, bro, because after I played 2 years of arena football, just chasing the dream, as you know. And then when I finally decided to hang it up at 27, I'm like, damn, like I had like an identity crisis. I'm like, man, who am I? Because I played football for 20 years. So I'm like, who am I? So I just had to like reinvent myself. I lost 60 pounds. I lost all that weight, we gained in college. lost all that weight, and I'm like, man, what did I like to do before I started playing football? Before I started playing at 8 years old, what did I like to do? And I used to like the arts. I was like in spelling bees, and I was like in the choir, and I was in the dance group. I was in the arts, so that's when I started like delving into, understanding acting and the industry, hosting podcasts, just everything in the creative realm, man. So it's funny you bring that up, man, because I had to just kind of reinvent myself, but that's why I wanted to start this, man, because we all have different individual stories of our career, or some challenges, some good times, some bad times, and a light is never lit on that transition out. Like, imagine a 20-year relationship, whether it's football, basketball, track, and then at the blink of an eye, at the snap of they say it's over. You're never gonna play again. You're never gonna strap it up. You're never gonna put the helmet on again. It's like you got to figure out your next step, and it's like, that's a lot harder than what people know.
That's true. I was thinking about this not too long ago, because my son is 12 now, so I'm helping out with the little league thing. I'm helping coach the little league thing, and what I've learned, because now since I've experienced it, I know how to look at certain things a different way. Whereas when we got to Iowa, and I felt like this ain't no bashing session. That's not my personality. That's not at all. But what I've learned about what I've learned about coaching is you can't coach every single player the same way. Right. Every player comes from different backgrounds. Every child, every athlete has a different story. Every situation is unique. So, and if you don't take the time to get to know the athlete that you're recruiting, you won't know how to handle their personalities when they get there and understand why they are the way that they are.
Exactly.
And I felt like at what we went through at Iowa, because I had a good experience. It's pros and cons to everybody's situation. Like I was a 3-year starter. Like even
on paper, for people that don't know that inside look or weren't in those locker rooms, on paper, it's like, man, he was a 3-year starter. This dude was a baller, all Big Ten player. Like, but we know, because we was in that locker room, we know the vibes. We know what it was like trying to be a Black player in a predominantly white environment. You know what I mean? To that stature in the state of Iowa, just in general.
And it's not even a race thing to me. It's just an ignorance thing to me. It's an ignorance thing to me. Like I said, you recruiting these players from these cities, these projects, these hoods, but you're just looking at the film. What about their home life? What about their families? What they went through? You got kids like my brother, which is really my cousin, but we grew up together like brothers. My mom brought him into my house for a couple of summers, and my first year on the field, my brother got murdered. And
I remember you telling me about that.
Man, I cried for weeks in film, in team meetings, and I had to come
I remember you stopped cutting hair for a while too. Like you just was like you was in your own zone.
Yeah, and I felt so alone, man. Like it was so much stuff that I went through that doesn't nobody know, that I dealt with for stuff behind the scenes, from athletics to personal, that I felt like I didn't have an outlet out there, even though I was imagine what I had to overcome by the grace of God to be able to be a 3-year starter. I had my twins. I had 2 kids while I was playing ball. So just imagine what I went through that doesn't nobody know about. And to be treated a certain way, not saying that I was outright neglected or nothing, but it was some stuff that I swept under the rug because
we all did.
Like, yeah, absolutely. And excuse me, I live right in
Oh no, you good.
let me tell you. I live right on the main road. So you got and then it's a thunderstorm about to happen too. So hopefully
it's coming. It's coming. Yeah. It's coming.
So, but now that I'm on the other side of it now, I'm real sensitive to how I deal with certain players because man, I'm coaching these kids, man, who I had a kid last year. for the team I was coaching, and this kid is eating noodles and cereal and then having to find his own way to practice because his mom is too worried about doing other stuff to get in the football, make sure he got the right milk. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's why he's acting like that. And how am I going to treat him? But then again, I got to be a coach too. Like, I understand, but at the college level, these are things that they need to start considering when they're recruiting. What is his home life like? What is his parent system? Is he raised by his mom, his grandmom, his uncle who molested him? Or you don't know, man. You don't know what these kids are going through.
That's a big point, man. They need to start gauging like an action plan on how they're going to have to coach each player, how they're going to have to motivate each player because and I love just being honest and pure on my platform, bro. You're not going to coach a white guy from Bettendorf, Iowa, who comes from a privileged background, whose parents are business owners and who's never struggled in life. You're not going to coach him the same as a guy from York, PA, or Cleveland, Ohio, who barely made it to where they are now, who experienced turbulence, who has really young parents that comes from an inner city background. You're not going to be able to coach them the same. Now, yes, they're going to be amazing teammates and they're going to end up being brothers because they're playing on the field together, but you're going to have to motivate them in different ways. They're not going to be the same human. And you can't treat that black player different because he's from an inner city. He may move a little different. He may wear a hat. He may wear earrings. He may have a few tattoos. He may talk a certain way because that's just his culture. You know what I mean? You have to know how to approach each player, and that's so big. I love that you said that. Seeing it from another lens now, coaching other players, because back then, I really and truly think we both know that they just didn't have that even kill, like or that skill set to say, okay, no, I need to coach him different. I need to say something different to him. I need to delve more into his background to see what motivates him, to keep him ticking.
Man, it was so many, and I'm gonna be honest, yo. It was a couple nights where I cried myself to sleep, yo. Like, do I leave? I'm competing for a job. This could be my first year starting. My girl's pregnant. My coaches are on me about, because I'm gonna be honest. I'll tell you a straight, honest story, yo, that I actually went through. I had my girl got pregnant, and I was on a home visit, and I had an opportunity to get a car. I had a good deal in the car, so I had to go home and get it. So I had to go home, drive 14 hours nonstop, straight
back to Iowa City.
Iowa City. I went straight from the highway to the workout, no sleep. I put my kids to bed, put them to bed, went to the gym, and then next thing I know, I'm getting behind on payments now because now we're allowed to live off campus, and I'm like, oh snap! So this changed the ball game. So I got a little bit behind. So they found out, the repo guys found out I was playing ball. So they start calling the coach every day, call the football office every day, irritating coach.
Wow, I never knew that.
It got to the point where it's like, coach comes to me and was like, look, man, these guys are calling me every day. I have a reputation. You need to give the car back. Not even thinking about what I'm going through with my kids on the other side.
Is that Coach Wilson or Coach Ferentz?
This is at the head. I don't want to say names. This is one of the big dogs in the big office. So so it's like now I'm competing for a job.
I remember that car. I remember you saying you fell behind on the payments. I remember that. Because we used to live close to each other.
It was a Toyota Corolla, gray. I remember. First car. Yeah. I was hyped too. But then you know how it gets in college, you know what I mean? I had to start cutting hair just to make ends meet. Yeah. So they was like, look, man, these guys are calling my house every day, give the car back. So now I have to walk to practice in the snow. All because he didn't want the guys calling his office and messing up his reputation. But what about me and my kids? Now my girl, I have to walk to practice, rides to practice in the snow. It was just, man, it was a lot of stuff, man, that broke my heart.
I never knew that. You did a good job of hiding that because you never told me or Will that. And we used to come over all the time and just chill.
Yeah, because we was right next door.
I know.
So we had a nice little setup once we got settled and stuff, man. But I had to borrow a friend's moped just to get around. It wasn't even my moped, and then that ended up getting repoed because the person who I borrowed from ended up leaving. So I was like, yo, what do I do now? And it's like, yo, there's no programs in place or stuff like that for people who have kids, no daycares, no extra. This is stuff that I'm not bashing. This is stuff that needs to be addressed.
No,
It's ignorance. It's ignorance, man. That's all it is. Like, that's
let me
man.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, bro. Give me your honest take on last year. Obviously, we saw 60 over 60 former Black athletes come out about their individualized stories about the University of Iowa. So much to the point where, you know, they reached a separation agreement with Chris Doyle. Obviously, we were under his tutelage for 5 years, both of us. I think he changed our bodies. He changed us in the weight room. We learned a lot from him. But just give me your honest opinion. I was actually one of the 60. I made like a 30-minute video that I put on YouTube where I really just gave the real raw organic experience, like from what it really was to from what a lot of fans didn't know. And at that time, I think a lot of fans listened and they were more open, more so open-minded, because when one guy speaks, obviously that ain't nothing, especially if you're Black. But when 60 plus guys speak all at the same time, then it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe there is some truth to this. Let's listen up. You know what I mean? So give me, what was your reaction when you saw that last year?
I wasn't surprised. I was not surprised. I'm gonna tell you why I wasn't surprised, because honestly, I thought that it would have happened sooner. Right. Because of just a couple remarks that, and I got nothing but respect for Coach Doyle, and I appreciated everything that he did for me. He taught me a lot about lifting weights that I wasn't tribute to when I was growing up.
Me too.
Just the in-depth. So, I mean, you can't take away his credentials.
You can't.
So
we all know he's one of the best.
But it was, as soon as I heard the story, man, I immediately was reminded, like it came right back to my spirit immediately. And it was the Khalif situation, the swimming pool incident. Do you remember that?
Man, I remember like bits and pieces. And it's funny, I literally just talked to Khalif earlier today on on Instagram, just on some funny stuff, because you know we still cool. But people try to explain it to me, but I literally didn't even get to see him after that. He was literally gone in like the next day or like 2 days. Like he was like back in New York. Like by the next time I talked to him, he was already like out of there.
He almost drowned, and that's the situation. I don't know if you want me to go into that, but he almost drowned, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's serious." He told you he couldn't swim. You made him get in anyway, and he almost drowned. And another situation I thought of was Des Moses, where he had gotten in trouble.
He was out past curfew, and oh no, he got a public intox. And they demoted him. They moved him from Leo to defensive tackle.
and then they rolled him until he couldn't think straight. He was out of it for days. That was my dude, and I watched him. Yo, they rolled him like he's some animal on some field. I remember having to do that the roll. But they made him roll all practice or something. I had rolled like a couple down and backs or something. But I had remembered another player who it happened. The same thing happened. The same thing happened to two different players, and it happened to be a coach's son, and that did not happen. And I was like,
bro,
oh my God. He ended up leaving Iowa and then balling out at
Tulane.
At Tulane. And then got picked up and had a great NFL career. He's an analyst now in
Kansas City
somewhere.
Yeah, Kansas City. It's funny. I had him on the podcast back in, I think, like episode 36. Like we talked for like 2 hours. He went in, but he brought that up even to this day. Even though he's retired, he's a realtor in the Kansas City area, and he also does he's a TV analyst as well. He brought that up. He still won't forget that, because literally the same thing happened. Like he got a public intox, he got suspended for 2 games, not allowed in facility. Then when he comes back, he gets demoted from linebacker to Leo. Him and AJE splitting the reps. They were both starters to defensive tackle, 4th string defensive tackle. The same thing happens to his son. No, twice. Remember, see, people don't forget. I even forgot. He got arrested twice for public intox.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, nothing. Nothing. I think he may have got suspended 1 game or may have missed like 2 practices, but no, like didn't lose any reps, didn't lose his spot, nothing. Like it was swept under the rug, nothing happened. And I don't care. I love being organic. That's a perfect example of white privilege. You're the coach's son. Of course nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Let's
it's a part of growing up. It's a part of growing up and maturing, man. Like, and you know what's crazy? I made it my mission to never get in trouble.
Me too.
And it still wasn't good enough. And I still got treated like an outcast, man. And I was a 3-year starter.
Exactly.
Man, I have some family that coaches in Canada and the NFL. And they go around scouting, because even when I got picked up by the Saints, I had went down to the Senior Bowl with my uncle, who was a scout for Canada, a Canada team. And man, he told me so much stuff that the coaching staff was saying about me, yo. It hurt me to the core. But greater is he who is within me than he who's in the world, man. Because I have a forgiving heart, man. And I know if I'm forgiving for much, then I have to forgive people for stuff that they do to me. So I just pray for the people. I let God handle it. You reap what you sow. I will never speak ill. I will never bash. I will never tear down somebody else.
Yeah.
I know everybody has their own demons that they deal with. And
how long did it take you, not to cut you off, how long did it take you to get to that place, right? Because and I'm sure you probably don't want to go into detail about what your uncle told you that the coaches said about you. But let's be honest, bro. That happens to a lot of guys where you can be a hell of a player, super athletic. If for whatever reason, if they don't rock with you, if they don't vibe with you, they are going to down talk you to the coaches and give you to the NFL coaches and give you the worst chance, the least chance of making it to the NFL. Whether you were a 3-year starter, started all 12 games in an 11-2 season. Even a guy like you, but it's many other guys that was before you and after you where this happens to. And guys want to speak out, guys want to say that, no, these kinds of things happen, but typically no one ever believes them. So they just kind of, they don't unpack it. They, like you say, unravel it, throw it away, don't speak about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what was said about me. It had got back to him because he's in that job description where he can inquire about a certain player. So and nobody knew that that's my uncle. So it had got back to me through my dad, because my dad, of course, is his brother. So, but they have different last names, so nobody put 2 and 2 together.
Right.
So they were saying that he's uncoachable. He wants to do his own thing. He doesn't learn from his mistakes. What else they were saying? I don't know, some other stuff. It was just some stuff that he doesn't want to be a part of the group. He thinks that he's better than what he is. This ain't stuff that scouts want to hear about a player that they're recruiting. And I remember my junior year, I was looking at the projections. I was projected 3rd round after that Orange Bowl season.
All right.
So
I remember.
Pat went 2nd round. AJ went 4th round. They had me at 3rd round, and I was the number 2 tackler on that championship team.
Exactly.
So it was. So when I decided to come back, I ended up playing hurt. I had partially tore MCL that I did in the Wisconsin game. So I'm strained my hamstring.
I remember. You fought through injuries your senior year. I remember that.
Yeah. So, but all that looks past. No scout wants to hear that. Oh, he played hurt after hearing all the other stuff.
Of course.
But it is what it is, man. I'm over it, man. That's what 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. I'm over it, man. God is doing crazy good things for my family right now. he blessed me with the 2 years down in New Orleans to make some money, and to invest back in my family and do what my family was doing before when I was younger. So and
What
now,
like what would you say? What would you say or identify to? What would you say? What would you identify that is the disdain against Black players that go there that are from like an impoverished background, or that talk a certain way, or that where like that have a little swagger, earrings, hat. They may have some rams on their car. They may listen to rap music. Like
I'll tell you a story about that
is
too.
so much disdain for these kind of guys? But like you said earlier, they come to the hood, they recruit us, they see the environment that we from. So when we get there, it's like they want us to be the complete opposite. Like we can't be a student athlete, take care of our business, like you said, make sure you're never get in trouble, never arrested, never no blemishes, but authentically just be yourself at the same time.
What's all right? If you can answer me this question, remember when we first got there? What's the first thing that they pushed on us? You gonna do things our way, not your way. If
The
you gonna
Iowa
do
way.
things your way, yep, there you go. So it's like, but you know what's crazy? You know what I've learned though? Joe Pa was the same way. Even Joe Pa, one of the greatest coaches of all time, had to adapt to the new way of doing things.
Yeah.
Period. And then look what happens when he started. I mean, I'm not saying it didn't work for him, but now you're entering into a new generation, doing new kids, a different era, technology, all that stuff. All that stuff comes into play. So
Exactly.
I think that they'll be fine because they put in place systems for the student athletes to be vocal and them not get in trouble for it. So that's progress. That's why I said it was just ignorance, man. They just gotta learn to change, to adapt to times.
Right. And it's crazy, man. I see the guys now and it brings so much joy to my heart, right? Because they are starting to get a voice. They are allowed to wear earrings in interviews.
Let me tell you something real quick. I remember you remember that big old that long gold chain I had with the diamond Jesus piece on it?
Yeah.
Remember? All right, so I remember, because I mean I'm from the city, so we had diamond chains and all that stuff in high school.
That's our culture. That's our culture.
So all right, so I remember, man, we was coming in to watch film after class. The meetings was about to start, and they had some recruits in the building, and they wanted, because they had some linebackers in there, and they wanted us to go over there and talk to them a little bit and take pictures with them. And I had my diamond chain on, so it was already programmed in me that this wasn't acceptable. So I remember having to take my chain off just to take a picture with the recruit, just so it wouldn't look like we're a certain type of program. And I remember I remember one of the coaches coming up to me, one of the big coaches coming up to me and thanking me for taking off my gold chain to take a picture with a white recruit. You gotta be kidding me, man. All the stuff that I look back and think about, I'm like,
it was so much ignorance, man. It was so much ignorance. We went through so much daily ignorance, just from a culture aspect, from a respect aspect. When you're talking about a white superior talking to an 18, 19, 20-year-old college student who don't even really know himself, who's still trying to figure life out, figure things out, like who's very vulnerable because they know that they hold the keys. They hold the keys to all of us from the inner city. Exactly. They hold the keys. So you better do it my way, or I'm gonna throw this key in a bush somewhere. I ain't gonna put it in the door. I'm gonna throw it somewhere, and you're gonna have to fetch and figure it out, like a lot of us had to do. So,
and
man,
I even before we got on this podcast, I'm like, man, I have a feeling that some questions are gonna be asked about, because I always said that I was never gonna say anything. I was never gonna address it. I just let it go. But then it's
the same thing.
I'm like, if I don't say anything, then nothing can change.
Exactly. We're not pushing it. Yeah. We're not pushing the culture forward if we don't say anything.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like I'm like, everything will work itself out, man. Like I'm not playing ball no more. God is my provider. They already threw the key away. That dream's already sailed. But now, if it was going to work out, it was going to work out. You know what I'm saying? It didn't work out. So now I'm on to what you said from the beginning. Like, all right, now I'm like, now what? Now what?
Right.
So,
Right.
but then I don't know, it kind of forced me to go into what I'm supposed to be doing anyway. And I love God.
Exactly.
I'm focusing on ministry and studying the word more and getting the word
Absolutely.
out there. And that's
Yes,
my
sir.
gift. That's my calling. I've been like that even when I was in high school, even though I was a little knucklehead and my flesh a little bit, doing stuff that we know we shouldn't have been doing. But that's what
Exactly.
happens when you're a teenager. You do dumb
Exactly.
stuff. You got to grow and mature. And that's what the ignorance got to be addressed, so that they have programs in place for kids where we come from.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's real simple
Man,
for me, man.
oh yeah, bro. I totally agree. I had one current event question. I had one current event question before I kind of dive into your childhood. I had you talk about the childhood a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you find yourself having to grow last year, right? Through our 32, 33 years of living, we never had to walk through a coronavirus pandemic. The world has never shut down. We've never had to wear masks anywhere. How did you find yourself having to grow emotionally, spiritually, physically, as a Black man, as a father, as a leader of a household? Like, what, just talk about that a little bit. Talk about that experience, because what I've noticed, a lot of my friends now that have families, it was hard for them. And as men, especially as Black men, obviously we weren't raised to speak about our emotions, to cry, to have moments of weakness. We're taught to keep your chest out. Whatever happened, you deal with it. Never be soft. Never show a sign of weakness. But being a leader of a family and migrating through this kind of thing together, you have to be strong for your family, but you also have to have times of vulnerability just to kind of get it out, and just you still figuring it out. All these black men are getting murdered, by police, and all these different things are happening. You got to figure out how to explain these things to your twins. I mean, like, just talk about that experience a little bit.
You want the politically correct response, or do you want the real?
Come on, man, the real. only the real in the After Effect, man.
So the real is for me is I'm so in tune to my word that the Bible said that this stuff was coming, and to prepare myself for these things. So we can get into the words in that perspective, but the politically correct statement is, of course, it was hard. I lost people. I lost my grandfather to the coronavirus. I lost some people.
Sorry for your loss, bro.
So it's not like I was affected by it, but I was prepared for it. And then the people who died were strong believers in Jesus as well. So I know that they're safe. I know everything happens for a reason. But in my case, because what my family does is, because we're front line, because we run a nursing home. So we're front lines, and that was the biggest area that was hit. So we had to really buckle down, and everything was isolated. All the rules were strict. But the benefit or the blessing, it was a blessing in disguise for the family, because business went up. We had 4 new locations open up where it was COVID recuperative centers. So we had all of our family was in one location. But now, since my brother had his location, I had my location, my mom had her location, and then my other brother had his location. So we were able to eat off of the pandemic. Yeah. Whereas I know how it affected everybody. I know people were struggling, people getting evicted illegally because they said it. Yeah, so it was hard for a lot of people, man. But God provided during that time, man. I'm not saying that that He wasn't. He didn't provide for everybody. It's just how certain things just work out. It was a blessing in disguise for my situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's such a blessing, because it's funny, when the coronavirus hit me, my experience was actually the complete opposite. I was out in LA. I was basically, to be honest, bro, I was basically a struggling artist. I was just getting by. I was doing acting gigs, security gigs, trying to figure out my entrepreneurship stuff, but just really just being explorative and just exploring. And when that happened, because I had worked corporate for 6-7 years, so I had that experience, and I wanted to do something different. I was trying to find myself, and to have that happen, I really had to adaptability, right? I really had to adapt. I had to pivot. I had to figure out what I needed to do to get things back in line. And here we are a year later, and I have things together, man. But man, it's so powerful. I love to hear stories like yours where, man, a tumultuous thing happened and you were able to ascend as a leader of the family. You were able to ascend and see things get better, man. And a lot of people ascended, whatever businesses they were in, whatever things they had going on, they ascended during this time, man. So I love that, bro. I love that.
And the government for the most part, for everybody who was in a tough situation with their small businesses, the government did kind of look out a little bit and come through with those checks for them. I'm not even talking about stimulus. I'm talking about the business checks. So, because I've seen people with small businesses that look like they lost their business, but they got that check and renovated their whole businesses. And now them Jones is up and moving. So I'm like, man, like this was a little blessing in disguise for a lot of people, but I understand, and my heart goes out to the people who were down in those times, because I know it got bad for a lot of people. Man.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. For me, it's like 50-50. I know a bunch of people, you know, where they lost a lot and you know, they had to figure things out. But I also know a lot of people that like you ascended and really did well, you know, during those unprecedented times, man. So I love your perspective on that, man. So let's talk your childhood.
It actually set us up for the next vision. And that's what we can talk about in a little bit after we get talking about the childhood. But because with those other properties opening up, those other locations opening up, we built major relationship with the big healthcare providers in the area that are moving the shakers in the area, and it actually set up the next move for the vision that I want to do. What I want the school for is to work with troubled youth. So and to do the recreational business management. So now that's going to set up what I want to do with the next thing. And I can talk about that with you privately, so that maybe it could be a future venture that I can set up wherever you're at, and then we can partner in that way. So we can talk about that, but I want to do that privately before we even get started with that.
Oh yeah, we could definitely talk about that offline. That would be definitely something that I would be interested in. You know, partnering up, man. So yeah, man, York, PA native. You attended Harrisburg Science and Tech. You obviously USA Today All-American, a bunch of accolades in your high school career, man. I always feel old when I say this. I guess we are getting old. But man, talk about growing up in the 90s. Obviously, I grew up in Ohio, you grew up in PA, but we didn't have what the kids have now. We didn't have YouTube, we didn't have internet, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't even have PlayStation until like 96, 97. We really used to have to be outside all day. It was a more interactive world. We used to have to be creative and do any bounce and Dino Man and make up hide and seek and make up different games and just
hide the
be outside.
We like cops and robbers. I remember all that, yo. Yeah,
so
you know what's crazy, kid? Kids nowadays will never understand, man. They will never understand. And we was just in the barbershop today talking about that, how the kids today were like, because they were like, yo, like I was looking you up on YouTube for some highlights and I couldn't find no highlights. I'm like, man, social media was after me. Exactly. So that's why you get like, I'm like, yo, like you ain't gonna
Instagram came. People don't know Instagram came out in 2010. That was a senior year.
I think we had MySpace or something at the time, and that was college. I think MySpace came out in college.
No, if you remember, all we had was Facebook. And remember, at that time, you had to be a college student. So if you remember, only college students had Facebook because you had to have a college email address. And then I think after after we graduated, like Mark Zuckerberg like bought all these other platforms, and then that's when just normal people could have a Facebook. But for years, you could only be a college student with a Facebook. People don't even remember that about Facebook.
No, I think we had MySpace. That's what it was.
Yeah, MySpace came out of high school. Yeah. So man, what was the culture like in PA? I'm sure it was a lot like Ohio. I know the weather is similar. What was the culture like just growing up in the 90s? Did you have any mentors that you looked up to that kind of like kept you on that straight and narrow? I always identify with Desmond Howard. He actually went to my elementary school and is from the same hood or neighborhood that I grew up in. And he used to come back and talk to us every spring, like after in the off season. And I remember him just really putting that battery in my back, even when I was probably like 9 years old. Like, man, if he could do it and come from the same hood as me, he went to Michigan and then obviously got drafted, won a Super Bowl MVP, and he would come back and talk to me. He's from my same neighborhood, walk the same streets as me. I'm like, man, it really put a battery in my back. I'm like, I'm at least playing the Big Ten. I'm an Ohio kid. Obviously, I want to go to Ohio State, but I'm like, I'm at least playing the Big Ten. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the NFL, but it really put that battery in my back to take football serious, take my grades serious, even at a really young age. So, like, did you have any mentors or people you looked at that kind of kept you on that straight and narrow as you started to ascend and really find yourself as a youth?
To be honest with you, bro, no.
Nobody.
It was just my pop. It was my pops, man. It was my pops.
Yeah.
And York, these are like small cities in Pennsylvania. They're not like Baltimore, Philly, Pittsburgh. These are small cities. And mind you, like, I didn't really start like really following football. Like, I only looked up to the guys who were locally nice, who everybody talked about. But they weren't guys who did anything. Like, you hear about the guys who Woody Bennett and them guys who played. He went to York High, who ended up doing great, who went to the Hall of Fame. But I didn't see those guys play. All I heard was that what my dad did, the all-state safety, what my uncles did. Like, I only was trying to live up to my dad. And
of course,
he was my coach my whole life. So I just wanted to be better than him. And in the process, I ended up becoming nationally known. I was number 2 in the state overall, number 1 linebacker, number 3 linebacker overall in the whole country.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, Shady was. I think Shady was the only player better than me in Pennsylvania that year.
Okay, and he was
Shady,
number 2.
You know what Shady did after that? He done took over the NFL.
He's still. He got 2 rings. He's still doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that, man. Like, like for you, because I always tell guys, for any top tier athlete, Division I athlete, we all have that time in high school where that light kind of switch on, and it's like you start making a lot of plays, and you start getting all those letters, and then those offers start to come, and then you start to realize, like, oh nah, I can really make this happen. Like, when was that time for you? Because for me, it was like 10th, 11th grade. But like you just alluded to, you started off playing football late, but you ended up being the number 2 prospect in the state of Pennsylvania behind LaShawn McCoy, who's still doing it, number 1 linebacker in the country, USA All-American. When did that light switch hit on for you? Like, it's like, oh man,
my freshman year.
Your freshman year.
My freshman year, because all right, so this is what happened when I was playing, because I didn't even want to play. I only wanted to, first of all, my dad made me play football a little bit, and I think my first year of football, I was like 12. Like, my son is 12 now. My son's been playing football since he was like 7 or 8. I didn't start until the age he is now. He's 12, and I started off playing tackle.
Okay.
So my second year, and I got big. I had a growth spurt fast, and I just got bigger and better than everybody fast. So my it should have been my second year. I don't know what y'all call it over there in Cleveland, but our second, because we have rinks, ponies, midgets. Each year you get 2 years rinks, 2 years ponies, 2 years midgets. I played 1 year, 2 year ponies, 1 year midget, and then I went to middle school. I dominated middle school so much that they moved me to freshman when I'm supposed to be playing youth football. So that when I was actually in 9th grade, I was already playing.
He was
varsity.
already, he was already ahead. Yeah, he was ahead.
Yeah, so I was always playing with. I think that's what made me so good is I always played up. So that when I finally played,
so you was used to that level of competition.
Yeah. So when I finally played with guys my age, I was already the guy. Right. And then when I won my state championship, my sophomore year, we went 15-0, and that's when then I'm getting national looks now.
Yeah, it went crazy.
That's when it took off. I think I had every school in the country looking at me. Matter of fact, I was just in the garage the other day and looking through some of the stuff. I got every single letter I've ever got in high school.
You still got all of it. I think my mom still got all mine. I'm still setting up my office, but once I'm all set up, I got to take a trip to her office. I got to take a trip to her house. I got to have some of that stuff in my office. Just, it's always good walking down memory lane and like, showing your kids, but also just kind of having those moments where you remember, what you have there. I think us as men, we get caught up in that next goal, that next accomplishment. When we never really get to sit back and smell the flowers of what we have done. So that's dope that you still have all that stuff.
Yeah, and I kept it for my son, so he knows. Like, look,
Yeah.
like, this is all I got. Now you got to get it. You got to.
Right.
I was in the league for 2 years. Now you got to be in there for 10 years. So
Right. No, that's fact. That's fact.
Yeah.
So, man, talk about, man, if you can remember, who were your top 3, during the recruiting process, and then ultimately, why did you choose the University of Iowa?
That's easy. My top 3 when I was coming out of high school was.
I know Penn State was probably
Penn State,
in there.
it was Tennessee, Penn State, UConn, Penn State, Tennessee, UConn, Iowa, and I think it was Michigan. It was Michigan because I had canceled out Ohio State.
Okay.
I had so Ohio State was Florida was it was Florida, Michigan, Iowa, Penn State, UConn, Iowa. Is
it against the rules in PA to go to Ohio State if you're from PA?
Nah, see, the reason I canceled Florida, the reason I canceled Penn State, the reason I canceled Ohio State is because they were trying to move me to running back.
Okay.
They were trying to move me to running back, and I told them, I'm like, man, I'd rather give a hit than take a hit. I feel like my career lasts longer playing. I was a good running back because I remember me and Beanie went to Michigan, Ohio State recruiting visit together.
Okay.
So they were recruiting us together. Shady.
Yeah, Beanie Wells is a dog.
Shady got hurt, and he went to a prep school. So therefore, I made all-state running back and linebacker in Pennsylvania. I was first team all-state running back and linebacker, and and then it came down to Iowa, UConn, Tennessee, and Coach Chavis was he recruited me. Coach Chavis is a dog, man. He was the big name linebacker coach for Tennessee, LSU, all the guys. So when he told me that he was leaving, when they told me that he might possibly be leaving, so Tennessee was off my list. And then it came down to Iowa. I still had Penn State in there because I was still tweeting on a little bit. And then it was UConn, and in UConn, Coach Edsall's from my area. And he recruited my uncle. My uncle went up to UConn, played left tackle. Will Beatty, he was a All-American left tackle. He ended up playing for the Giants, winning the Super Bowl, and he won another Super Bowl.
I remember. I remember him.
Yeah. Well, that's my uncle. So, but then when they recruited me, it was too good to be true what they were promising me, man. Like I thought it was all UConn and UConn. So it was too good to be true what they were telling me. They brought the whole coaching staff to my house. They told me that they would build their whole defense around me. I'm like, man, they're just trying to get me there. And then when I get there, it's going to be different. So I feel like it was all, but I should have listened though, because I saw what Coach Edsall did for my uncle. But Iowa, why I chose Iowa is because every school that recruited me said, oh yeah, you can have your number, whatever number you want, you can have it. Because I was a top recruit, one of the top recruits. So I'm like, okay, but Iowa told me you can't get your number, but we're gonna give you the opportunity to get whatever you want, but we're gonna make you work for it. I respected that because I was a hard worker. Yeah. So, but looking back at it, I should have had wisdom, and I should have discerned what was being said there.
Yes.
So it's like, we don't really care about you.
It's funny, bro. Right. It's funny, bro. I had a homie that went to Glenville with me in Cleveland. He went to UConn in your class, 2006. His name was Lindsey Whitten. And they gave him that same spiel. You can pick whatever number you want. We're going to build a defense around you. He played defensive end, rush linebacker. And they kept their promises. He wore number 9, playing DN, and he was a 4-year starter and ended up getting drafted. So it's funny. It's funny, like when you're a competitor and you was raised the right way, you weren't given anything. You were raised to earn everything. When you hear coaches say that and speak like that in your living room, where they're saying, well, you have a chance to get whatever number you want, but you're gonna have to earn it. You appeal to that. Like you move towards that because that's what you're used to. That's how you were raised. So
facts, man. Yup. So looking back at the whole process, man, I'm like, man, I wish I could go back and do everything again. But it's like I had a good college career, but I could have been All-American status all the time, every year. Because I feel like Iowa didn't use me to my strength. They made me cover 2 boring linebacker. In high school, I was a blitzer. Put me on the edge and let me go do my thing. I might make a mistake, but I promise you, I'm gonna make more plays than I will in cover 2. Cover 2, it was it's boring, man. It's just boring. It was a boring defense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know that super boring. Feel they like all the barely blitz. I mean, I love, to be honest, man, I love what Phil Parker does now with the defense. He actually has packages. He lets guys stand up and rush. He blitzes way more than we ever did. You know, we used to never blitz. Our defense, it was boring as hell. We never did anything. But they had to go through a losing season.
Bend don't break.
Yeah, they had to go 4-8 for them to switch things up. Like they had to go 4-8 a couple years ago and have a losing season for them to switch things up. So yeah, the defense is definitely boring, man. But so bro, talk about like your transition, because I always love this, the transition to college and the transition to the NFL and the transition to real life after football, right? But talk about your transition to college. You were the number 2 ranked player in the state of PA, USA All-American, all these accolades, all these accomplishments at the age of 18. You get recruited, you get told all these great things. If you chose Iowa, you pick Iowa, you go there to only get redshirted. Talk about that culture shock going from York, PA to Iowa City, Iowa, to a 98% white state. It's only a handful of people that even look like us in the state of Iowa, let alone Iowa City. And then you were a top recruit to ultimately get redshirted. Talk about that transition a little bit. What was that like for you as an 18-year-old?
Yeah, this is what I'm guessing God wants me to talk about it because you brought it up. So, and I said I was going to talk to you about it private, but I guess that's my cue to talk about it. So this is what I'm working on, bro. And I don't know if this is live or you going to edit it and cut it out, but because this is big for me. This is what I'm working on here. But all right, so you just said, how was it like to transition, going from a top player to transition into a school and have to redshirt, knowing you're at the top of your game? That 1 year off is going to be like you can't be sitting. I get it that you're practicing, but you're not practicing your strength. You're practicing somebody else's technique.
Another team.
To be a scout player to get busted up on every day when you're an All-American.
Right.
So this is what I'm working on. This is what God has transitioning in me to. Is I'm putting together a program. He gave me a name for it already. It's called Elion Pre-College Mentoring Program. And it's for athletes who have trouble home situations, or whether it be financial, don't have the resources, can't get the right proper nutrition, have problems with tutoring, a tutor schedule. You know how they did it for us as a learning center. You got a certain GPA. So I'm putting together a program like that for high school athletes in my area.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah,
to prepare them for that transition.
To prepare them so they don't do what we did.
Right.
So you got these players and it's referral only. Your coach has to refer you to my program because he sees the potential in you. So if you're getting local looks, you're getting college looks, then you qualify, and hopefully I can get set up for where we get scholarships so people can get their whole year paid for. So that's what I'm working on. So it's crazy that you brought it up because I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to talk about you private. But hopefully this can get out there and somebody else can do it in their home cities and then just give me the credit for when it's done. Because I'm going to set it up just how they structure it up for us, the red shirt years. But my goal is to take that red shirt year out so they can get right into it. And then in the facility we got, it sits on 20 acres of land. Wow. I got space.
Wow.
So we're just looking for, so if you could put this out there, if we can get some money, get some donations so we can help put this program together the right way so it can help these athletes transition to college and not after redshirt. That's the vision. I have the vision already laid out, man. That's the plan, man. And then if wherever you're at, you're in Cleveland, you're in Atlanta, I show you how to do it there, and you can do it there. Just cut me in.
Oh, definitely.
Give credit what's credit is due.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, that's a great visionary idea, man. And like I just said, I think it's so essential because so many top tier athletes, so many guys get lost in that transition because they can't handle it or it becomes too much.
Yeah,
And we're not talking.
out. It's too much for
Yeah,
them.
yeah. We're not talking about the athletic ability. We're not talking about what got them there, but just socially and academically and having those skill sets of things to pull from. That's so essential, bro. I love that idea. We could definitely talk about that more offline, bro.
Yeah, for sure. It's happening, bro. It's happening as we're talking. We got the building already. We got it sits on 20 acres of land. The building is humongous. It has a cafeteria, it has a game room, it has a computer lab, it has everything. It has apartments on it. So man, God is moving, man, and that's my calling. This is what God has blessed me with to be able to give back to my. And then in the meantime, it even has a chapel in it, so I can do ministry in it. Teach these people, teach these kids, these kids in the projects who don't know nothing but gunplay. You can show them in the ways of the Lord and know them and let them see that there's something else outside of darkness. There is light still out there. There is people that still love them and care about them out there. That want to see them prosper and win and be successful, and then pass it on to the next generation, man. My goal is to, I got the lighter. I want to light your candle. You light the next candle, and then they light the next candle. Man, that's what it's about. Why want to be selfish for?
Exactly.
Man, I want as much fruit on my tree when I step before the King of Kings, when I'm judging the man. I want to be able to be like, look, Lord, this is what I did for you. This is what I did for you. That's what it's about for me.
Man, yes, that's amazing. And we need to talk about that more offline just to see, how we can collaborate and partner like we was talking about earlier, man. That's great stuff. That's great stuff, man.
And I might get ready for the phone call because I might be putting together some camps where y'all can come in and help be a part of it. Because I'm gonna need my guys.
Bro, all I need is an invite. I've literally went to every camp that I've got an invite to, whether it was Desmond, Mike Daniels, whoever, Carl Davis, whenever all I need is an invite. I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
I'm flight, hotel. I'm gonna figure it all out, and I'll be there. I love coaching, man.
Hey,
I love coaching and giving back.
Tell Mike, man. I saw the contract he got. He better look back and help us little guys out get on. And Because Mike, me and Mike, we used to always be in Bible study together. I know he loves God. He could be. He can help be a part of this. He could help be a part of this too. I know. Julian, all them guys love God.
Yeah, I can shoot you Mike's number. I think his number changed, but he calls me literally like a couple times a month, so we still actively talk. I can shoot you his number because I definitely think that's something that he would be interested in.
Well, hey, let him know, and we can partner up, man. I need people who God has already blessed, man, to be a part of it to help fund it, so we can do this, man. It ain't about me, man. It ain't about me. It's about the kingdom for me. It's about furthering blessing these kids and now I can live through them now. Now I can fulfill my dream through them. And hey, tell Mike, man, Mike is my guy, man. I love Mike, man.
You know that?
Yeah, absolutely. Mike is Mike one of the realest dudes that he never changed. He never changed. Not 1 year at all.
Never changed. I tell him that all the time, man. He going into year 10 is a blessing. You know what I'm saying? That he's still the same. He's always been authentically himself, never tried to be someone else that he wasn't, always was just himself, man. So I love that. Man, so I know we talked about that red shirt year, but man, if it's any Black athletes who are at a predominantly white institution now, whether it's University of Iowa or any other Big Ten school, SEC school, just talk about how you got from red shirt in 2006 to eventually starting in 2008 and eventually being a 3-year starter, amassed 269 tackles. You're only the 63rd player in Iowa history to ever have over 200 tackles. A lot of that is never talked about, but I feel like that transition is never talked about a lot, but it's so hard for a Black player to do at a predominantly white institution. So how did you find yourself in the starting lineup? Did you compete in 2008 and ultimately win the job? Did someone get hurt? Was it all just bad vibes and they were just like, Anthony, we don't have nobody else, so let's put Jeremiah out there 2008, and obviously you ended up balling, ended up being a 3-year starter. Just talk about what you had to do to ultimately become that, because a lot of guys, that's what they want. I wanted to be a 3-year starter. Everybody wanted to be a 3-year starter, but sometimes it doesn't happen for every guy. So just talk about your experience and how you got there.
Okay, that's a great question, because the way God has dealt with me my whole life, it seems like he always prepared me for the moment. And what I went through at Iowa wasn't the first time I went through that. People don't notice that I went to an all-white school my sophomore and my junior year. The first year, see what happened was when I started my freshman year at York High. Then I balled out as a freshman, but I wasn't focused on school. Like nobody was guiding me. I was just a good athlete. I was just another guy who was good at ball. In the city.
Naturally gifted.
Yeah. So, but nobody. I always thought about the NFL, but I didn't actually think it would happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I had dreams, I had goals that I pursued.
We all do.
I'm like,
yeah.
So I'm like, is it really gonna happen though? But I'm gonna do my best to make sure it does. So my dad had made some relationships with some guys who, because he was coming up. My dad did video camera. He filmed. He was a cameraman, so he did all the big games, all the big high school games, college games, pro games. So he had made some relationships with some coaches, and everybody knew I did really well as a freshman because I was all over the news all the time as a freshman.
Right.
So I ended up going to an all-white school my sophomore and my junior year, and that's where I got my first state championship at those schools. But it prepared me for that environment to understand that culture and how they think, how they operate. So I was already used to the mindset to be able to, all right, I get that, but I'll stay in my lane.
Right.
Like I'm in Jeremiah's lane, and that's what was said to the scouts about me. He wants to do his own thing. He doesn't want to be a part of the team. He don't want to be a part, like, and to hear those things, knowing that's not my heart, it hurt.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know, like, I literally tried to sleep at nighttime sometimes. I just felt so alone out there. I'm 14 hours away from home. I sacrificed everything to be here.
Everything.
And this is how I get treated. And I could have went anywhere in the country, and I chose here. And this is how y'all treat me here. Like I'm just another guy. Like I could be starting right now. Like mind you, that y'all don't know this, but they were going to take me out of my redshirt year to rush Chad Henne against Michigan in the Big House. They were going to take, because I remember I was killing Marshall Yonda in practice. And they're like, oh, mind you, this is when I'm coming out of high school. This is what I was known for in high school, coming off the edge.
Exactly.
So they were like, do you want to come out of redshirt? I said, I'm not coming out of redshirt for one game. Now, if I'm going to be the starter, then I'll come out. Then they took that as me being selfish. So I believe that they remembered that when they came.
They held that against you in 2007.
Yeah, so but when it came time for me to compete for a job, it was me and another player competing for a job. And he did end up getting hurt in camp. That's a part of the game. At any level, you're competing for a job because it was nobody. They had a depth chart, but we were splitting reps. And I'm not taking anything away from none of the linebackers, but that's just the game. Every linebacker that year was competing for a job because Pat and Jacoby and Bruce was competing for a job too. Lee Tart was competing for a job. AJ was competing for a job.
Jacoby started over Pat quite a few games, which I still think is a joke, but that's neither here nor there.
because Pat was so humble, man. To this day, man, I love Pat so much, man. He's like, even though he's out in Iowa, man, whenever I talk to Pat, it's like we're still in college, yo. I got mad love for Pat Anger, yo. He never changed. I love Julian.
Easily one of the best teammates. Pat, I always allude to Pat, Carl Klug, like you said, Julian Vanderbilt,
Carl,
great guys, man. Great guys. Yeah.
And they the type of white boys that would be accepted in the city because they're so genuine and they just so humble and down to earth. It's just the personalities. And I'm not taking nothing against the other players. I got love for that whole club. It wasn't the players that caused it was the coach's mindset. And I believe that they put a certain energy and aura out there.
Always, bro.
Certain players.
Always, bro. And I tell people all the time, I've said this several times, the coaches is what ruined my experience, right? With the players, the relationships we've built to this day, man. I mean, I met you when I was 18, you was 19.
Yeah.
15 years later, we still talking like we in the locker room, like we used to talk in the locker room. The relationships I've built, the players saved my experience. The players, the games, the wins, the bowl games, that camaraderie, that's what saved it. But like you said, bro, the coaches is what kind of ruined it for me. Like you said, it was always some kind of negative connotation on something that we was doing. And we were considered the good guys. We never got arrested. We never got in trouble. We were considered the good guys, but it just was always like some kind of negative aura in the air. Like, and it just messed up the experience.
They didn't accept our culture.
Exactly.
They didn't accept our culture. Coach Wilson did, but even I felt like Coach Wilson was even pushed into a corner.
You know that all the time.
Thing. Yeah, because his job is on the line. He got a family now. So he got to get on board because Coach Wilson from the hood. You know where he from. He from Camden. He from the murder capital. So you know he know what's up. But even I felt like he was pushed into a corner, man. So and I love Coach Wilson, man. All the years he had me at his house, he treated me like a son. He took me in when I didn't know where else to go. But even he was pushed into a corner and started.
Oh yeah, he had to. He had to conform. Him and Soup, you know, those were the only two black coaches.
Yeah, but he got out of there though.
You know they had to conform.
Soup got out of there. Yeah, but Soup got out of there. He was a real one too. He was like, man, I can't take. I'm out of here. He ain't stay long. He ain't stay long.
Right.
And I bet you. And I bet you. And I bet you, if you talk to him privately, I bet you he'd tell you the real too. Because you know he don't care.
Yeah, I tell I had DJ K on for my first episode. Actually, he didn't talk about it on camp. He didn't talk. No, he didn't. No, you know,
I'm
it's
still
a lot
waiting
of
for
things.
that book to come out.
Oh, right. It's a lot of things that we didn't talk about, obviously, on camera. But he told me a lot of stuff off camera that you know that Soup told him as far as that experience being a black coach and that environment, all that kind of stuff, man. So I already know, bro. So man, let's talk about.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
There's no way on God's green earth that DJK should not be still playing ball right now.
Nah, say it again for the people in the back.
No way on this earth
say
that
it
he should
again
not
for the people in the
play
back,
in ball in the NFL right now. He's one of the best receivers in the country that year. He made front page Sports Illustrated, and he didn't get one look. Come on, man. Tell me that's not politics,
bro. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
And
that's an agenda.
And you know, we talked about it. Me and him talked about it, man. And you know, he talked about what that did to him. Like that put him in a dark.
It messed him up.
Yeah, he was in a dark space for years, just trying to figure life out. Because, like you said, and we all know we were all his teammates. We were all there, all Big Ten player, all Big Ten receiver. He killed every Big Ten DB that year, 2009 and 2010, easily first round. At the worst, third round, second round, at the worst. Everybody know that. And
that shows the power that they have.
The power, you know that.
Power.
Big power. And I think that gets lost in translation a lot, especially with the head guy, Kirk Ferentz. He coached in the league for so many years. He has all those relationships. Whatever he say is golden. Whatever he say, that's what they're going to take and hold tight, man. So that's a perfect segue, bro. Talk about the 2009 season from your viewpoint. Obviously, we started off 9-0, number 4 in the country. We lose to Northwestern when Rick Stanzi breaks his ankle. Ultimately ended up going 11-2, Orange Bowl champions. You won Special Teams Player of the Week versus Northern Iowa, 95 degrees out there. We almost lost. but just talk about that roller coaster of a season. Yeah, talk about that roller coaster of a season. I just can remember us living in close proximity together. So you would always come to our apartment and we would just talk. We would just talk about just how the season going, chill, kind of just be in disbelief that we're really like this good, and just talk about what we could do, what we could change on the field. So 2009 was just such an epic year, bro. Talk about some moments that stood out to you.
Well, being at your apartment, the one memory I used to have is when I used to bust y'all up in Madden. Yeah,
No,
I used to
no,
dig
you
in
used to.
Willie's behind.
Oh, you did. I know y'all used to go at it. Like y'all used to play like often. Y'all used to
Yeah.
play often, like right after training table. Like, man, let's get a game here real quick. We go to the learning center.
Yep. The best Willie up. And then I remember all the roaches that we had in them apartments, man. All them roaches we had, man. Oh, man, I will never forget that, man. I remember you was telling me a story. You was like, you bought a girl and you couldn't turn the lights on. You had to keep the lights off just so she wouldn't see the roaches.
Bro, we did 1 year at the Ridge. We did 1 year at the Ridge because the rent was so cheap. And we like, man, we gotta get out of here. We moved on. We moved on Aber Avenue. The apartment was a little bigger. Obviously, it costed a lot more, but man, yeah, it was worth it.
Yo, that was a classic. You told me that, I lost. I said he had to turn the lights off just so the Jones could come through. I lost it. We had some good times. We had a lot of good memories, but it was a lot of bad ones too, man. So I don't know. I guess it comes with it.
So what stood out to you? Like, what moment stood out to you on the field? Obviously, I think you were on the field when Adrian blocked the kick at Penn State. To have that to be 8 p.m. night game on ABC in your home state at Penn State, the white sea, the white horses, 110,000 for us to pull out that game. Then obviously Michigan State, the catch, if you will. Shout out to Marv and Stanley for that Michigan last State play. That was another night game. Michigan State was loaded. They had Kirk Cousins, Le'Veon Bell. Them guys still doing it at a high level. To get that win on the last play. And then, I mean, I even think about that Ohio State performance, that because that was the Big Ten championship. But even though Rick Stanzi went down and James Vandenberg had to start, we almost beat them in the shoe. We took them to overtime. We almost beat them in the shoe, the Big Ten championship. I
got hurt that game. I got hurt. I got a high ankle sprain that game, and I didn't finish that game. Yeah, but that season, man, was a memory.
I mean,
like that,
Northern
Iowa. Year.
Northern Iowa, you blocked one of the one of the extra points, or we would have lost the game. So but talk about what moments stood out, bro.
The play before that, though, you remember the play before that, though? The play before
did you jump off sides? Or
Broderick blocked the kick, but
the first play,
and the ball went, and everybody told me to get away from the ball. Remember Sash was like, "Jay, get away!"
Yeah.
And they recovered it. And they got another kick to kick it again.
Oh yeah.
So if they make that kick,
okay, I remember that.
If they make that kick and we lost, it would have been on me because I could have got the fumble when they blocked it. So I had to block that kick. I had to block that kick. And me and Pat were talking about on the field.
What was that? What was that feeling like to block the kick for us to get that win in just like a crazy game like that? Obviously, we thought that we were going to blow Northern Iowa out, but they ended up being a good team that year. They were good. They had some good athletes.
Yeah, they had I remember that little running back, man. He was quick. He was strong.
Yeah.
Oh, he was nice, but I was relieved that I blocked the kick because I knew I was going. Because mind you, this is the time where we're competing. I'm still competing for a job.
Yeah.
Even though I started the year before, this is the team that I need to start for because I know how good we are.
How good we were, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the team, 2009, 2010, man, that was the year that's going to be a memory for my lifetime.
Oh, we were loaded. We were loaded. We had so much talent.
We should have played in the national championship that year.
Easily.
We should have played. Because we finished number 3 in the country, but if we don't have that one loss, and I don't get hurt against Ohio State, I think we beat Ohio State because they wasn't running against us they didn't start running against us until I got hurt.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Go back and watch the game.
And then who went in for you then? Tarfinian? Who went in for you?
I think it was Tarp, or I don't know if it was Tarp or if it was Troy. But when you're a starter, your mindset is different. You study different, and so when you're preparing to play in the game as a starter, your preparation is different than a backup. A backup, you're ready to play, but you're not really ready to play. You get what I'm saying? It was nothing against the backups that came in. It was just your preparation is different Because now,
Yeah.
like I'm the guy. This is my job. Now it's going to get done. Whereas
course.
when you're a backup, you're a special teams guy first now.
Right.
So your preparation is making plays on special teams, and then you're in the back of your head is now I'm a backup linebacker now. So
Right.
So it wasn't against them, but they weren't doing nothing against us until
I remember.
until I went down.
Yeah, I remember, man. That was a hell of a game.
Yeah, it was a good game, man. And that whole season is a bunch of memories, man, from the athletes. And then when you're winning, the atmosphere is different. When you're winning but when stuff starts to get a little rocky, like we had the same team back kind of that last year, but
2010.
But something wasn't right in the building that year. Like there's
Right,
no way. It was.
We
no
started
way
off. We started off really well. We were ranked really good. I think we started off with like 5-1 or something like that. But then like you said, those last 6 games. Yeah, those last 6 games. That second part of the season, it just like you said, something went wrong. Something wasn't right in the building. A couple guys started getting into like getting into like small trouble and things like that, and it just snowballed. It snowballed on the field, man. Yeah, I remember that.
I think a lot of players are ready to go too, man. They were tired of the bull crap, and I'm like, man, I'm just ready for this to be over, man. I'm ready to go to the NFL, make some money, and just be done with this, man.
Oh man, totally. That's a perfect segue, man. So talk about entering the 2011 NFL draft. Obviously, I mean, let's keep it honest and plain, bro. 3-year starter, a 3-year starting linebacker at Iowa. Yeah. Being a part of an 11-2 Orange Bowl winning season. Yeah. There's damn near no way that you don't get a bunch of looks, that you don't get at least drafted in the later rounds. So, man, talk about what you were hearing in the 2011 NFL draft as you prepared, and then kind of just try to relive draft day for me. I know, like you said, man, your whole career has been kind of decorated. You were USA All-American in high school. You experienced turbulence at Iowa at first, but you finished as a 3-year starter there. Now it's time to reach that ultimate goal, playing at the highest level. What were you hearing during that time? And then try to relive draft day for me, because I'm sure you didn't expect to not get drafted, and then but to ultimately sign a undrafted free agent deal with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, it was tough, man, because of course I'm a 3-year starter. The stuff that I heard that they were saying about me, I didn't know until after the fact. I didn't learn that till later. Yeah. So to hear, to get ready for draft, I'm like, I'm definitely gonna get drafted, even if it's like 5th, 6th round, because AJ ended up going 4th, 5th round, I believe. I can't really remember.
4th round.
Yeah, so AJ, I'm like, AJ went 4th round, so I'll definitely go 3rd, 4th round, latest 5th, 6th. I'm like, when day 3 came, I was excited. My family was excited. I'm like, I'm definitely going to get drafted. Yeah. When I didn't hear my name called, man, that hurt. And then to hear later what was being said about me,
what was said. Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I gave them my life for 5 years. I turned down every school for y'all. Right. This is my payment. I gave y'all.
And this is the thanks I get.
Yeah. Like, you gotta be. So it hurt a lot, man. It really did hurt to not get drafted. But even still, I kept a positive mindset. That was the lockout year when they had a lockout. There was no OTAs. So all the training I was doing was on my own. I was ready to get out of Iowa. I didn't want to be around. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that environment no more. So I went and I trained in New York, and I just linked up with my uncle's agent. He was with Sports Star, and so I was with them. So I ended up getting picked up by the Saints. I had I got hurt early in camp, but I was the rookie to watch. I had balled out in camp. I was picking off Drew Brees and Chase Daniels from Missouri. So I had 2 picks against them, and the practices on, and I'm like, I was doing all right. So as soon as they did a front page article on me, Hunter, the rookie to watch. Mind you, this is the same year as Cameron Jordan. This is the same year as Martez Wilson and
Yeah.
I'm the rookie to watch. Dang, why? Because I'm undrafted free agent, 3-year starter at Iowa, and you a
Making
3-year starter at
plays.
Iowa. That's saying a lot.
You know that. You know that.
And they moved me to middle linebacker. They moved me to middle linebacker, so I felt I'm right in the middle of everything now. Like I can go both ways, and it's a different system. So I'm like, it was a little hard getting because when you're used to playing cover 2 all the time, when you got man-to-man checks and switches, it's a little different. So that's what I wouldn't prepare me for all that. So that was a little different. But even still, I was doing all right. And then we had a walkthrough one day in the practice facility and inside in the indoor facility, and I'm just doing my normal drop. I drive down on the receiver crossing, and then I pop my Achilles. So you can see on film when you watch the tape, you see me looking around like, dang, who clipped me going behind me? I feel like I got a Charlie.
Right, that's what it felt. That's what it felt like. Yeah.
I got so I'm looking around and nobody's around me. So I get up to walk thinking like, I just got a little Charlie horse. And it pops. You can hear it pop, yo. Everybody goes like this. Oh, you can see everybody on film just like, oh, we know what that means.
Yeah.
For my Achilles, it was the day after they did a front page article on me under the rookie to watch. I think I got it saved somewhere too.
Wow. Man.
So, but that was tough, man.
What did that injury do to you just internally, like emotionally? Like how did you get through it? Like mentally?
Confidence.
Yeah.
Because you want to watch it, my confidence? I broke a bone before, but I never had a serious injury where I missed a season. When the injuries I had was I had broke my arm in high school during the championship game, but I still had a whole year to recover outside of football. I'd never missed a football season until my NFL career. It's the first time. So to experience that and to have no NFL resume, I knew. And then I was a free agent with no resume, serious injury. Why would they bring me back? They could just bring in a rookie, healthy. And so in my heart, I knew it was over. I knew it was over. And then I come back. I get a CFL look. I think it was Toronto. Toronto called me. I turned down the offer because I'm thinking I don't want to go to Canada yet. I'm playing in the NFL. I'm gonna get a call soon. There's no way I'm not gonna get a call. The call never comes. So I try to go back to Canada. And the call never comes. So I go and play indoor in Philly somewhere, arena. I get to camp. I go to camp and I strain my calf muscles in camp. I partially tear my calf muscle. So I'm like, all right. So I try to come back again. Then I herniated a disc in my neck. So now
that arena ball ain't nothing to play with. I played 2 years. That arena ball ain't nothing to play with.
So I'm like, man, I said, and it's the same injury as Peyton Manning got that Denver released him from.
Okay.
So I'm like, they got rid of Peyton Manning and he's a quarterback. I'm a linebacker. This is my career right here.
Yeah.
So once it was my neck injuries, I said it's time to do something different now. That's when I started. That's when I let it go, man. I'm like, man, I can't do no more surgeries. I can't do no more pain pills. Pain pills was making me lose my mind. I was getting addicted to them. It was getting crazy. And what's crazy is I didn't even know I was starting to have a problem.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, this is I can't do this no more, man. No more surgeries, no more pain pills. I'm done.
Yeah. Did you just regarding the pain pills, because that's talked about a lot in the media, you know, what athletes have to go through, and either it's pain pills or marijuana. And a lot of athletes say marijuana is safer and it's natural. Did you have like an epiphany to say, all right, I'm taking these things too much, too often, I'm lightweight addicted, or did you think about it like later down the line? It was like, man, I used to take those all the time. Like
I didn't know I had a problem until my family told me I did. That's the scary part is you don't even realize it's a problem.
You didn't see it. Yeah.
Don't even notice it because you think that it's just medicine and it's what your body needs so that you don't have pain. With pain pills, it's like the pain gets worse the more you take, and then you become addicted to them, and it's like you start to begin to need them. And
to function.
I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't get out of bed without taking a pain pill.
Right.
So that's the scary part. And then what saved this whole addiction for me was marijuana. is getting on the cannabis. It helped me get off the pain pills. Now I don't have no withdrawal, and I can start smoking weed anytime I want.
Right.
So that's that. So
that's powerful, man, because it really works.
That's another thing. It helped me with my pain, and now I don't have the lure to have to have a pain pill. I can just smoke a blunt, smoke a little hit, and then my pain, I'm good. And then I can throw the blunt. I can be done with the weed.
Exactly.
I don't need it.
Exactly. I tell guys all the time, you know, I'm not like an avid smoker. I'm not a stoner. I'm not a stoner, if you will. Like, you know, but if I roll a stick, it'll literally last me 2 to 3 weeks because I don't hit it often. I may hit it once or twice because, you know, after you left, I tore my pec. I tore my left pec, benching like 385 pounds before my senior year. So you know, they had to repair it. I had a torn labrum and a torn pec, so they put the screw in there and everything. So I still have a lot of scar tissue in my shoulder. I still feel that to this day. My labrum, you know, my range of motion ain't what it used to be. So yeah, you know, a little hint of marijuana, it helps. And I'm still a working professional, and you know, things of that nature, man. But just a little bit of it definitely helps with pain. So you don't have to elude like, or you know, depend on, you know, those hard drugs, man. So that's powerful, bro.
That all started. That's actually that started in New Orleans when I tore my Achilles. Because when I tore my Achilles, man, I wasn't. Mind you, I never had an injury like that before, so I wasn't used to that pain. I'm like, yo, doc, man, these pain pills you giving me ain't working. So what they would do is they sent me to a pain specialist, and they tried different pain medications that they would. They said that this isn't. Some people do go through this type of situation where the pain medicine that's prescribed isn't working for that person, whereas it should work for somebody else. So the pain medicine that they gave me wasn't working. So they put me on different pain medication, a higher dose. And that made me feel like I was going crazy. So they put me on something else. And then that worked. Now it's a high level. So now it's not an easy transition. So now they got to taper me off, giving me all these pills just so I can taper off normally and not go through some crazy withdrawal.
Yeah.
So when I had got home, my brother actually is the one who's like, yo, you gotta try cannabis.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'm not a smoker. I'm not messing with that. He's like, no, trust me, bro. This is getting bad. You need to try it. I tried it and it helped. And I'm like,
always helps.
Goodness, why didn't somebody tell me that?
It always helps, man. I'm so glad that it's coming more so on the forefront now for athletes, making it okay. I think they just passed the bill for the NBA not to even test for it anymore. So now athletes can freely do that. I think the NFL, I think the NFL is putting that into action this season. So like players can openly do it, you know, just as a pain relief thing, man. So I'm so glad. Like you said, like we talked about earlier, the culture is changing. Guys, all these resources, guys have so many different resources, and you know, they can really authentically be themselves, man. So that's powerful, man. So
I think it'll be a good thing, but I still think they need to watch it though, because some people, anything in excess,
they overdo it.
Becomes a problem. Yeah, don't overdo it, because that's you can't overdo it too.
Oh, you know that some guys, you know, eyes be bloodshot red, can't function, can't think, all that. Yeah, that's definitely what you don't. That's definitely what you don't want, man. So yeah, bro. Like you just talked about those injuries, and you knew that the game was over. Man, talk about, was it a day for you or like a transition? Talk about the day you knew that you were done with football, you would never step it up again. Was it a day? Was it a transition? Was it easy? Was it hard? Because for me, I'm real, pure, authentic. Ain't no lies told on here. It was a hard time for me. Like when I was 27, and I told myself, like, man, damn, I played 2 years of arena ball, I chased a dream. It ain't gonna happen. You know, it was hard for me. I mean, it took me a strong 4 to 6 months to get over it, because I gotta be honest, bro. I felt like I underachieved. I only started 1 year. Iowa didn't start to my senior year. I didn't get drafted. I never even put on an NFL helmet. So in my head, I never reached the highest level. That's where I wanted to get. I was really, really hard on myself. You know, as athletes, we're competitors. We we compete every day at everything. So I was so hard on myself. It was hard to deal with. And then I had to figure out who I was outside of football, figure out how I was gonna re-identify myself into the world. It was a hard time for me, bro. Super, super hard. A lot of dark times. So was that transition easy for you because you went through injuries? You knew it was time, or did you go through any struggles?
I knew it was over when when I had my neck injury, I didn't even know I had anything wrong with me until I started getting I had nerve pain real bad down my left arm.
Yeah.
And they were telling me like, yeah, you need to go get that looked at because it sounds like it's a pinched nerve somewhere. And what happened was when they did the MRI, they told me that I had a herniated disc in my neck, and they had to go in and fix it and put some artificial disc in there for me. And I'm like, you guys going to mess with my spinal cord? Once they told me that, I'm like, yo, I play linebacker, yo. And you know how I used to be feeling on that bob. You remember that bob? I used to come downhill and smack that fullback, and I loved that. I loved that play.
Yeah, that contact.
So, yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going to feel confident filling that hole like I know I can. Therefore, if I can't be the best, if I can't be the best of me, I'm not doing this no more.
It's time to hang it up. Yeah, it's time to hang it up.
Yeah, so that's what I knew. But I also, mind you, I already had money from my NFL money. So I had some comfort. I had some comfort room.
Yeah.
To be able to be like, all right, I can still invest this money and still make something out of it. I can make this work. And that's what I end up doing. So whereas with your situation is a lot different than mine because you're AFL, that money is a lot different than NFL money. So now you're a little tighter.
It's baby money. It's no money.
Yeah. So that was the blessing in disguise for me though, because I had comfort room and I had time to make the right decisions.
Figure things out.
It just so happens that my mom and my dad did the business thing already growing up.
So it was easy it was easier for you to segue into that. You had a few resources because your parents, like you said, your parents had businesses. They knew how to get you started. And you had the capital. You had a little bit of the capital already.
Not only get me started, man. They did it for me. Like I'm right now. I'm chilling at home, and tomorrow I'm gonna pick up a check, and I ain't have to work nothing. Yeah, see, that's the goal. That's the goal.
That is the goal. Yes.
So the goal, but this next project that I was just telling you about earlier, that's the generational wealth right there. That's the dream for me. Football, this is what matters to me, is seeing that kid be successful and then light the next candle. And then them light the next candle, them light the next candle. That's what's gonna bring me peace and happiness.
That's
football,
so powerful.
Football is this big to me.
Yeah. That's so powerful, man, because I can only attest to my experience, my situation. When you don't come from a family with a lot of business owners and you have to kind of be self-taught, like it's just so much harder. I mean, you got to save your own money. You got to save whatever you're making to have some capital. It's going to take you longer. It's so many things that you have to learn on your own instead of having those immediate resources, man. So that's so powerful. Like you said, to create generational wealth, it's so powerful, man. And we all have to start at different levels. Like, to be honest, for me, I got to start small because I don't have as much capital. So for me, my main focus right now is vending machines and mobile homes, because all of those things are small things that I can buy and flip. Make a great ROI, make a great return on my investment, and then invest what I make. So, but it's levels to everything. So understanding that you got to start small and just kind of build your way up, man. That I love your take on that entrepreneurship.
Yeah, but that's what we do for. That's the point about college. That's the beauty about college, is building these relationships. Whereas you build these bonds with your brothers. It's camaraderie through football, but now we're in the real world. Them brothers are still
here. Exactly.
Like, I call you whether we talk or not. Like, when we do talk, it's like we're still in the locker room. You still my brother from back in college. Like if I sign a $50 million contract and I know my brother needs help, man, what do we got to do to make this work, man? What do we got to do? And then whatever I put you on, just put me down, and then make sure I get something back on it. We look out for one another. That's what
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
I'm not a selfish dude, man. If I got it, then whoever needed
of
got it.
course.
If I always
Always something on the back end.
yeah, man, because if
Yeah.
this is my prayer, man. This is what I pray every night. Lord, bless me so I can be a blessing. Bless me
Mhm.
so I can be a blessing for somebody. It's not for me to hold on to. It's just
Yeah,
for me to give to your child. You
exactly,
love them. So that's
exactly.
my job.
And,
Because what
and
does the Bible say?
honestly,
What does the Bible say? You should know that they are my disciples by their love. Man,
yeah,
I got so much love to give, man. I don't hold no ill will. All the stuff that happened in Iowa, I'm telling you my story, not to
of
bash, but
course. Yeah,
to
it's
give
just
that
your story.
information. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I can always tell when something is organic and when it's not, man. And I feel the organic vibes coming through this interview, man. So, everything that
Yeah.
you've accomplished, it's only going to rise more, man, because you're organic. You living in your purpose, man, and it's pure. Like you're not looking for nothing for no return, like you say. You ain't doing nothing, and you're going to pick up a check tomorrow because that's supposed to happen for you. Like
Yeah.
you're in your purpose, man. I can feel that. I can feel that through our interview, man. So,
Appreciate that, man.
last question, bro.
Yeah.
What would you say is Jeremiah Hunter's after effect? The 20-year relationship you had with football, the starting football at 12, USA All-American, all these accolades. You go to University of Iowa, 3-year starter, amassed 269 tackles. You go undrafted, you sign with the Saints, you play for 2 years, you play arena, you play CFL. Now you're a business owner, killing it in your area. What were some lessons that you learned through all those experiences that you take now and you ingratiate or implement into your kids, into your household, into your family, essentially, as we've been talking about the whole time, as we try to push the culture forward?
That's an easy question. And it's a great question. And it's the perfect question to end our interview on. That God is faithful, no matter what you
Yes.
go through, no matter what obstacles Satan puts in your path, because the obstacle is just that. It's something to make you stumble. That God is faithful. If you continually keep your eyes on him, just like he told Peter when he started to walk on the water. Peter, why'd you doubt? You were walking on water until you looked away from me. If you always keep that mindset in your head, is that the storms will come. Keep your eyes on Jesus, man, because he is faithful. He is faithful to see that what you desire comes to pass if you keep your eyes on him. I think he's worthy of it. He's deserving of it. He's God who incarnate, came in the flesh, died for our sin. And the only thing he requires us is that we trust him and that
Seek
he's
him.
faithful. Seek him. And he says that any person who calls on my name will be saved. In any situation, it's not about works. It says that it's not of works so that no man can boast about it. It's a free gift. It's a gift that he gives us. And that's what I instill in my kids. The battles will come, but just know that he's faithful. He's
And you know
teaching
what,
you
man?
something.
That's such a power after effect, because I gotta be honest. I'm not exploring different spiritualities, but I've had some bad experiences with Christianity leading the way. So I can wholeheartedly say that I received that. I completely received that, man.
Yeah, and that's sad that you say that, because it's so true. It's that Christianity has gotten a bad name because of the people who haven't been taught in the love of God. They've been taught religion, but not to be a Christian, which means to be Christ-like. And Jesus said, "You shall know that they are my disciples by their love. If they have not love, they have nothing." So don't get caught up in religion.
And that's what's missing. That's what's missing. Man. Oh my God, man, I think you may have struck a nerve on that, because
that's the Holy Spirit, bro. That's the Holy Spirit right there.
I know people, like you said, religion, that know the Bible from the beginning to the end, but the action, like the action, the feels, like you said, the love, it's not there. It's almost like they're a total opposite human being. Like,
you know what I call those people? You know what I call those people? I call them Pharisees. They know the book inside and out, but their heart is dead. Their heart is dead. Those are the people who killed our Messiah. Those are the people who killed my Jesus. It's those religious people, those Pharisees.
Wow, I love that.
Anybody who says they're Christian but then doesn't live it, they're a Pharisee to me, and it's not real to me. They're a religious person And Jesus and God hates religion. He's after
Man,
our
that's so
heart.
true.
He's after our heart. He's after our love. That's what it's about. It's about love. It says love covers a
Absolutely.
multitude of sins. Love,
Yes.
love.
I receive all that, man. So one thing I've been trying to pride myself on since I started this thing almost a year ago is, giving God's flowers while we still here, man. I think, like we talked about earlier, we grew up how we was raised. A lot of guys don't show each other love. We don't call each other and say, "Hey, bro, I'm struggling, man. Can I talk to you for 5 minutes?" We don't give each other flowers. We're not vulnerable with each other. We're always just real hard, tough, joking. So I want to tell you, face up, man to man, eyes to eyes, bro, all the accolades, all the accomplishments, all the conversations we had, whether the locker room or the apartments or training table or learning center, the fact that we've been able to cultivate this relationship over the past 15, 16 years, man. I want to show you your love and give you your flowers, while we both still here, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Same back to you. Same to you, man. I appreciate you even thinking. I appreciate you even thinking about me to do this, man. Because this is, I did little interviews and talked to a couple people, man. But you're the first one of my teammates to think about me and reach out to me and get my perspective on it, man. That means a lot to me. Because now when you put this out there, now people can see Jeremiah. Because Jeremiah that you knew in college, you knew me.
Exactly.
I was always quiet. I was always
real quiet.
Like if you had to have a one-on-one relationship with me for you to get the real me. If you don't take the time to get to know me, you never get this from me.
And I was quiet too. Other than if I was around you or Will or Bruce, people that I really knew, I was the same guy. So I think as we grow as men, I think even me starting this, people are like, wow, this guy LeBron is talking. This guy LeBron is talking because I was always really quiet. So man, it's so cool to see our growth and be able to talk about these kinds of things as men, like you said, not bashing, but legitimately, authentically telling our stories. These are things that we literally walk through. So yeah,
facts,
bro.
Man,
of course.
That's fact. That's true. That's true story, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, well, I appreciate you carving out the time, bro. Say hello to all your family for me, man. Love to y'all. Hope you all continue to stay safe. I know you will in 2021. We'll continue to stay in touch as we already talked about some different things that we need to talk about offline, man. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So when you get a minute, give me a call and I can go through the vision with you. And it's
okay.
And then so the project, the building is ours. It's just some stuff that gotta get figured out with the lawyer. And I can't wait to put it out there, man. I can't wait to put together the brochures. I can't wait to go in there and take pictures because it's owned by the Catholic Church. But the people who own it, they're like older and they want to be done with it. But they want to make sure it's going to be
in the right direction, going in the right direction.
Pay it forward type thing. Like they want to know it's going to be used for the right thing.
Right.
So that's the relationship that we built during the COVID recovery centers during the pandemic.
Right. That's dope, man.
Especially when you're faithful, man. And like I said, man, I'm not a selfish person. So if I'm doing it here, I'll show you how to do it where you at. You in Atlanta, Cleveland, LA, wherever you at. It's a need that needs to be done for these athletes across the country for where we came.
I totally agree, bro.
So just
we'll definitely
reach out to Mike and whoever and let him know what the vision is. And if he wants to be a part of it, man, that would be a blessing. And I know he loves God. I know he has a heart for the kids. So let's do this, man. Let's do this and let's do it together as brothers. It don't have to be me. I've been praying about, Lord, bring me the right people that are like-minded to be able to do your will for your kingdom. I don't want to partner with people who don't have the same vision as me, who haven't experienced what we experience, so that by us doing it together, we know what's going on. We know what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And now we've been around the same people, thinking the same way. It will flow. That's how the Holy Spirit works, man. He's answering my prayer right now, and you don't even know. Now I'm starting to see it. Like he's answering my prayers with this podcast, yo.
So man, that's such a blessing, man. So yeah, I'll definitely give you a call this weekend, probably Saturday, and I'll also shoot you Mike Daniels' current math as well, man. So we can figure the thing out, like you say, man, together, man, and authentic, man. So I'm excited, man. I hope you all have a good night, bro, and we'll be speaking real soon, bro.
All right, yes, sir, man. Appreciate it, man. God bless.
Oh yeah, God bless, bro. Peace.
Yes,
So yeah, guys. Oh man, deep breath. Everyone's in a deep breath. But yeah, man, I truly thought that was maybe one of the most powerful conversations that we've had thus far on the After Effects show, episode 63 with Jeremiah Hunter. As you all can see, he's grown so much, but he's just had a great career. And I really just truly think, like he said, no one has really interviewed him or really got his side of the story on a lot of different things, even though he's doing great things in the PA community now. So yeah, super excited that he was able to carve out that time. If you are watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment. If you have a question, if you're a Hawkeye fan or just an athlete in general, like it, share the message to anyone you think needs it right now, right? If you're listening to this episode on any of your audio platforms, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Google Stitcher, Spotify, please leave us a review. Download it to your phone so you get all the episodes. We release 1 to 2 per week. We've been doing so for almost a calendar year now on June 16th. Leave us a review. As you know, one of the ways that we make money is through our listenership. So the more listens, the more downloads, the more money we make on the back end as we continue to just bathe in this passion project, right? So until the next time, peace.
Subscribe to LeBron Daniel TV, but you already knew that, where we dig deep and find our hustle, and every single day we are better than yesterday. Subscribe.